like created an incentive to turn a blind eye to fake accounts. So if the incentive structure is like, maximize the appearance of monetizable daily active users, then it's a strong incentive to pretend that a bot is real. And that's what happened. It's not going to be promoted. It's not like we're not going to be recommending hate speech, and we're not going to monetize hate speech. Like, it does seem like we're headed into a recession here. It's wise to kind of like prepare for the worst, hope for the best, prepare for the worst. Like, watch out for margin debt. If there's like mass panic in the stock market, then you got to really be careful about margin debt.
In today's video, Tesla and Twitter CEO, Elon Musk gives a brutally honest update of what his first 6 weeks as Twitter's CEO have been like and what new features Twitter users can expect in the near future. Before listening to him, please ensure to smash the like button and subscribe to the channel.
I pushed the views, which is like actually a lot harder feature to implement than you'd think, because the sheer number of transactions per second, I think it sort of requires system-wide on the order of 3 million transactions a second to actually calculate the view, calculate and display the view count, FYI, for Twitter Global. So it's like 3 million per second. It's a lot. I mean, it's exciting, but I think it sort of has its highs and lows, to say the least. But overall, it seems to be going in a good direction, and we've got the expenses reasonably under control, so the company's not like in the fast lane of bankruptcy anymore. And we're releasing features faster than Twitter's history, at the same time as having contained the costs and reduced the cost structure by a factor of 3, maybe 4. So, the verified is obviously that's huge. It's a revenue stream as well as a means of identifying, of like knowing that it's a real person and not a bot or a troll situation. Having the organization affiliation, which I suspect you talked about, that was an idea of David's that was great, to have organization affiliation, so you can know that somebody is an actual professor at Stanford, or that this particular handle is actually Disney, not someone simply putting "I work at Disney" in their bio. So I think that's going to be really helpful. Just really just having detailed and nuanced verification. So of all the various things that you say you are these things validated by other people and organizations? It's sort of like, what's the batting average? If it's like baseball, the point is not that you hit the ball, but it's like, well, how many home runs you get, and how, like, what's your
slugging percentage?
Yeah, slugging percentage. Yeah. It's like, you're going to swing for the fences. You're gonna strike out a bit more, but we're going to swing for the fences here at Twitter, and we're going to do it quickly. So, and I think generally, like, my error rate and sort of being the chief twit will be less over time. But in the beginning, we'll make obviously sort of a lot more mistakes. Because I'm new to I'm like, hey, I just got here, man. So, I mean, if you look at like the actual amount of improvement that's happened at Twitter in terms of like having costs that are not insane, and getting and actually shipping product that on balance is good, I think that is that's great. Like, I think we're actually executing well and getting things done. What the criteria is trying to apply, and obviously you're not going to be perfect if you're moving fast, and there's a lot of people you're talking about here, is that anyone who is exceptional at what they do, where the role is critical, they have a positive effect on others, and they are trusted, meaning they put the company's interests before their own, should stay.
Pretty straightforward.
Yeah. And also is up for working hard. Well, I think you could just stand back and say, without knowing how many employees Twitter has at all, and say, how many people are really needed to run Twitter? Like, let's say you don't know what the employee headcount number is at all. How many people are needed to keep the site operational? Like, let's say, excluding product evolution, you basically have to keep the servers going, and you have to have customer sort of a support function to take down material that is in violation of the law. Yeah, almost all of the what's called trust and safety work, which is like the support functions for the site, are done by contractors. But we still have a fair number of bots in the system, but I think the incentive structure, the way Twitter was set up previously, was this relentless focus on what they called MDAO, which is monetizable daily active users. Although I would say the monetizable part is dubious. But at least things that appeared to be monetizable or could be passed off as monetizable daily active users. So this created an incentive to turn a blind eye to fake accounts. So if the incentive structure is maximize the appearance of monetizable daily active users, then it's a strong incentive to pretend that a bot is real. And that's what happened. We've taken a lot of steps to reduce the bots and trolls situation. So many. I think you're seeing that in the usage. Like it's not like relatively rare to have your replies filled with crypto scam. I'm thinking about that much because I'm just thinking about like how do we I'm just like just get Twitter to be in a financially healthy place and fix the engine of engineering so we can have a rapid evolution of new products. So, and I mean, I guess I'm in sort of in some ways an unfortunate position where I don't have to answer it. It's not public, and we don't have a board really. So, I mean, so I can just go, and I can take actions that are drastic, and obviously if I make a bunch of mistakes, then Twitter won't succeed, and that'll be pretty embarrassing and sad. But as long as, like I said, as long as the batting average is good, that the wins significantly outweigh the mistakes, then it'll be a great future. And I think I'm very optimistic about where things are headed. The general principle, I think, is that we should hew close to the law in any given country. So the laws vary quite a lot by country, so I think we should be doing free speech that's close to the law, and that's the general principle. I think there are other things where it's like, okay, we like, for example, like if you're an advertiser, you don't want to necessarily you don't want your ad, like let's say it's a family movie, next to some NSFW content, even if that content is text. They'll be like, that's we don't, so that's part of what so there's more of an allowance for what some might call hate speech on the system, but it's not going to be promoted. It's not like we're not going to be recommending hate speech, and we're not going to monetize hate speech, so or negative speech. It's certainly possible that some things that will be regarded as hate speech will hit trends, but I think it's going to be relatively unusual, especially as we are doing a better job of controlling the bots and trolls situation. And I do want to emphasize, like, there's a difference between the bots and the trolls. Like, bots are like fully automated accounts, but like a troll farm would be where you've got 100 people in a warehouse somewhere, each with 100 phones, and so they're actually humans, and they're going to pass a captcha test, and they can, reply, and because they're actually good humans, but it's actually 10,000 accounts that are obviously not operating as real people. So that's stuff like that can cause things to trend negatively. That's why I'm like a big proponent of having just a low cost verification capability. And so But like this is definitely a work in progress. So there's, like I said, there's going to be, and I did like one of the first things I said after the acquisition closed was like we're going to make a bunch of mistakes, but then we'll try to recover from them quickly, and that's what we've done. And I think we've generally succeeded in recovering from them quickly. It's been going pretty well. So. On the journalist front, I think the journalist suspensions were not a mistake in that for some reason a bunch of journalists thought they were better than everyone else, and that if they engage in doxing and break the rules in various ways, that they're not subject to suspension, even though your average citizen is. And I think that's just messed up. The same rules should apply to people who call themselves journalists as to anyone else on the system. They shouldn't be sort of above the rules. For some reason, they thought they should be. That doesn't make sense. Something I've committed to, and we'll I think probably be able to roll that out in January. Just by the way, there is like a bit of we are not going to be rolling out a ton of new features over Christmas and New Year's and stuff. So. There's like the next sort of feature set will probably roll out mid to late January, and hopefully in that we can include information about why an account is suspended, and some of these things are like there's a lot of things that just happen accidentally where there's the rules in the system that are meant to detect whether someone's a sort of bot or troll or like brigading, where they're and then an account is sort of innocently caught up in that. So like there were some accounts just suspended yesterday because temporarily suspended. Like they got 12-hour suspensions because someone in trust and safety thought that they had posted a nude photo of Hunter Biden. they hadn't actually done that. I don't know. It was just basically a mistake. There were some accounts that got a 12-hour suspension yesterday for in error, but they weren't sure why it happened. It was just essentially a mistake with Twitter customer support that was corrected.
Elon, let me ask you just a slightly broader question. I'm just curious, across all your businesses, so Twitter, yes, but really more importantly, Tesla, SpaceX, are there decisions that you will make differently or not at all, or will make that you wouldn't have made otherwise in this new regime? And how often do you think about that kind of stuff?
Like it does seem like we're headed into a recession here in 2023. The magnitude of that recession is debatable, but I think it's at least a light to moderate recession. Potentially, it's on the order of 2009. So I think it's wise to kind of like prepare for the worst, hope for the best, prepare for the worst. Don't get too adventurous. Like watch out for margin debt. Like I would really advise people to not have margin debt in a volatile stock market, and from a cash standpoint, keep powder dry. You can get some pretty extreme things happening in a down market. Like Brett Johnson, who was a CFO, who is a CFO of SpaceX, was at Broadcom in 2000, and he said that, and that's a good company making good products. And he said from peak to trough, I think in less than 12 months, Broadcom went down 97%. So, like, even if you had a small margin loan there, you got crushed. If there's like mass panic in the stock market, then you got to really be careful about margin debt.